And good day and welcome to the QEM Heroes webinar series. I'm Christine Wood and I serve as the Assistant Program Director for the Heroes Fellowship Program at QEM. And for more than 30 years, QEM has been a national catalyst for STEM education transformation and research capacity building. Currently, the QEM network serves nearly 900 colleges and universities and reaches more than 8,000 individuals nationwide. This webinar is part of the HEROES initiative. The HEROES program brings together former federal scientists to lend their expertise and support to the STEM research and education communities. Our fellows are here to provide tools and tips for navigating the funding landscape, developing STEM programs and partnerships, and improving talent retention in in-demand fields. We hope this series promotes engagement with our Heroes Fellows and provides valuable resources to our participants. And as a note, the webinar recordings and slides will be available in the QEM Resource Hub. By attending this webinar, you will soon be added to the QEM network and granted access to the Resource Hub, so look out for that email. And I'm so proud to introduce our fellows today. Dr. Frances Carter Johnson is an innovative problem solver with professional experience spanning commercial, academic, government, and nonprofit sectors, as well as multidisciplinary content, data management, and analytic expertise. Her technical areas of expertise include data science, AI and data, evaluation, public policy, physics, and engineering. And James Smith III is a retiree from the U.S. Department of Defense. In his 20-year career at DoD, he served as a site engineer, software engineer, systems engineer, project director, and an engineering and physical science researcher at the North Carolina State University Laboratory for Analytic Sciences. In these roles, he developed and refined expertise in artificial intelligence and machine learning programming, software engineering, and 3D graphics. He also advanced mission-critical research and partnered with students and faculty from minority-serving institutions in support of research goals. So without further ado, I will turn the floor over to our presenters today. Thank you very much.
Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you all for joining us today for this webinar on AI funding opportunities. We wanted to do this webinar because we know that everyone is interested in AI. Everyone is thinking about how to incorporate it into their research. But we wanted to be able to share and discuss more than the very common federal opportunities that you may be aware of. We wanted to be able to talk about private as well as state, private or nonprofit or industry as well as state funding for AI. So that's where we're going today. And I wanted to start off, let's do a little housekeeping. We don't have regular polls. We want to use the chat for polls today. So we'll open with our our first chat. We do want this to be very engaging. You can put questions in the chat. We'll probably go through the information and maybe come back to questions at the end, but we want you to be very engaged and talk to us through the chat and as well as talk to each other. I hope that is helpful. Our first question then, we assume that people want information about AI research funding, but maybe you have all the information you need and you're just here to see if we offer anything extra. If you have all the AI research funding you need, type "I'm good" in the chat, if you will. If you still need more information, please type "show me the money" in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, more "show me the monies." Okay, thank you. So, another question. As you're showing us the money, how many of you have already done some searches on your own, but have questions about the information or the research funding you found? If you've done a search on your own and have questions, then just give me a simple yes. We're not going to get fancy this time. Just give me a simple yes. You've done some searches and you have some questions. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So you've done some searches. Great. If Tell us about the your most favorite opportunity maybe that you've searched about and found already, and maybe you're working on completing a proposal or grant application for that opportunity, because we want to see if you've already found some things that we're going to share. So this is kind of a pre-test. See what you found, and we'll see if we find some different things or the same things as we go through the talk. So take your time sharing those in the chat because you might have to go get the link or something, but share those in the chat as we go along. So from what we found, where is AI research funding money? We found that it's at the institutional level. It's at a state level, being offered by nonprofits, by industry organizations, and of course, the federal opportunities that people may know about. But there are also some international opportunities that we want to share. And then at the very end, we'll talk about how do you think about this? If you've never applied for AI research funding before, then how do you win AI research funding? It's not that different, we think, from the awards that you've already won. So we'll talk about that a little bit at the end. So institutional level research funding, what are some of the first funding we found? The more well-endowed institutions, Penn, University of Pennsylvania being an example, are giving away money. They're partnering with federal agencies, or they're partnering with nonprofits, or they're using their endowments to provide funding to faculty members on campus. The most famous one that I found was Penn AI. They have a Penn AI initiative, and it's a university-led effort to fund understanding and advancement of AI research applications in education. They're using internal university funds. They have a $200 million Future Fund partnership for innovation, and they're using philanthropic and tech grants from Google and federal funding. In 2026, they had a funding opportunity discovering the future of AI awards from just their university, had 54 applications, and they awarded 4 awards totaling $450,000 and 31 high performance computing awards, so providing access to high performing computing systems within their community. So one example, University of Washington also has AI at the University of Washington. They have the funding mechanism is a $10 million launch fund from Samanyai uh, organization. And they also have Amazon AI PhD fellowships. They have a Microsoft partnership, and they have some Amazon Science Hub partnerships. So a lot of different ways to provide funding on to their community to seed AI research. So in 2026, University of Washington awarded 36 grants, 50K each across 19 schools. So why do we talk about this? Why are we showing? If your university or your organization is not offering this, then maybe that's an opportunity for you to begin to talk at your university about reaching out to nonprofit organizations or corporations to think about funding research at your institution as a start for your institution. But, high level institutions are not the only organizations that are offering these grants. Minority serving institutions also are funding AI research institutes or AI initiatives, and they are also providing funding and thinking about how to apply. So some minority serving institution examples that we found in preparing for this talk are North Carolina Central University started an Institute for AI and Emerging Research. It was approved by their trustees at the end of 2025. And in 2026, they awarded 11 AIC grants for early stage AI research. I didn't put the amount, I think they were on the order of $10,000 a piece. But North Carolina Central is a leading organization in that effort for HBCUs. Bowie State also has an Ascend AI initiative with Howard University, and they've also won some grants from NSF, the NSF Excellent, and other capacity building grants to implement AI into education and into their curriculum and in other ways as well. Jackson State University has an AI council with several AI initiatives where university faculty are working together to think about what funding to apply for and how to explore AI research on their campuses. Other organizations, Morehouse Spelman, Howard University, are backed by grants from Google and other partners. The Atlanta University Consortium has an Apple Propel Center that is providing funding for researchers to do research. They also have some high performance computing capabilities in the Atlanta University Center. So there are several examples of minority serving institutions that are doing this as well. If you do a search on tribal colleges, there are some tribal colleges that are partnering and thinking about implementing AI as it's relevant to Native communities. So your searches, we're encouraging searches as well on your part, and these are some examples that we want to share. I did not see anyone put in the chat any of the AI research funding that you're already working on. I hope, feel free to put some of those in the chat when you get a chance. And so we wanted to move on to the state level as well. Anyone here from Georgia and familiar with Georgia AIM? I'll wait. I'll let anyone put it in the chat. Well, Georgia AIM is a funding opportunity that is led by Georgia Tech, but it was funded in 2024 by the U.S. Economic Development Administration and is really aimed at implementing or improving AI in manufacturing in Georgia. They have multiple types of funding opportunities for institutions, organizations in Georgia, the Georgia Research Alliance Awards and Early Stage Innovation Awards. Georgia they have information for technical colleges in Georgia as well as high schools. So these links are live. We have several live links in this presentation. So when we share this presentation after it's done, you can come back to these live links and be able to click on the link and go to the different websites and learn about this information and learn how you can, think about this at your institution or at your state if that is what you're interested in. The North Carolina, and James is aware of one of his colleagues in North Carolina has been funded by this award type. It is North Carolina's innovation program. It is aimed at applied researchers at the 16 UNC system universities as well as community colleges in the North Carolina Community College system, and they are looking to have a portfolio of over $37 million across 47 projects. They have opportunities on an annual basis, so we don't have information about the um, time frame of these awards, but to know that North Carolina does have an innovation fund. James, did you want to chime in here at all to talk a little bit about North Carolina's innovation?
Yeah, basically what it is, it allows faculty members to submit unique projects associated with like AI. And it can range from anything from drone object detection to synthetic data generation. It's just a matter of coming up with something unique that the state has an interest in. And considering that you're in North Carolina, you have Fort Bragg, they also look at projects that's going to help the military at Fort Bragg also. So you can get funded on any type of AI project if it's something they deem essential, basically.
And have no fear if your state is not listed. What we did not list, right? We could have listed every state, but that would have been a lot for us putting together the presentation and for you all to sit and watch. But many states have administered workforce innovation opportunities that are administered by their governors or their higher education administration. So there are AI opportunities for funding that state institutions can receive. There's also opportunities for you to train on AI at a state level. So from Mississippi to Louisiana to Alabama, those states all do have AI initiatives that universities can apply for, but also initiatives for training on all levels, whether it be, from a technical college level or for you as a university faculty wanting to train. You can go to your state's website and just look up your state and what their AI initiative is, and you should be able to find initiatives and to think about what you might qualify for or what you might use as you're growing in, thinking about AI research funding. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Naima, for sharing. What about South Carolina? We will talk about the different types of research as we get into industry and federal. And because we have this question, if we don't have anything for you, we can add it after the presentation, but we'll see as we go through. Thank you so much for putting your question in the chat. This opportunity here is actually already in progress. The proposal process is in progress, but I wanted to share it because it's a nice link between nonprofit and state level funding. So we've all heard of the Eli Lilly company. They are headquartered in Indiana. Their endowment organization, Lilly Endowment Incorporated, has an AI in higher education for Indiana institutions of higher education effort. And those applications are due in September. And there was a phase 1 and phase 2 process for those applications, but they are aimed at helping Indiana colleges and universities implement AI into their universities and into their education system. So if you might not be in Indiana, but are there organizations in your state that are headquartered in your state that might be offering information or funding just for institutions in your state? So examples, this was an example that we wanted to share that was like that. Now, when we think about nonprofits, there are multiple nonprofits that are funding different types of research. So, Naima, your question about South Carolina and your question about autonomous image segmentation and microscopy images, you can do a search on that specific, that specific discipline, that specific area of research, and looking for what federal funding or what nonprofit funding might be out there that's related to that. And yeah, I promise your searches. Have you all done that already? Naima, have you done a search for nonprofits that might be funding the type of research or nonprofits associated with industry that might be doing that type of research? This example that I wanted to share is a $500 million collaborative funding effort from all of the nonprofit organizations that you see on site, which you might be familiar with many of them: the Mellon Foundation, MacArthur, the Lumina Foundation, the Ford Foundation. They have all teamed together on this humanity AI effort. And the aim is to distribute millions of dollars in grants aimed at shaping inclusive, people-centered AI for public good. So their 5 focus areas are democracy, education, humanities and culture, labor and economy, and security. So AI that is focused in those areas and AI that is for the public good in those particular areas. They gave away $18 million in May 2026 to their 9 inaugural grantees, and they're working, or the information that's provided shows that there's an open call scheduled to come out in summer 2026 for $10 million. So that will go to different organizations. Now, what I found in researching this, that a lot of this funding seemed to go to nonprofits, but what several of the nonprofits, so smaller nonprofits, right, not large nonprofits like the MacArthur Foundation, but smaller nonprofits who might be focused on AI and education or AI and policy. Those were some of those 9 inaugural grantees. And if you click on the link that's available there, it will show you the names of those organizations. Um, Yes, you will receive these slides. All of our slides are always made available through our QEM resource hub. And when you register for a workshop, you become an automatic member and you have access to those slides. So if you go to QEM's website, QEM.org, and click on the QEM resource hub, then all of our national webinar slides are available in our QEM resource hub, and these slides including. And as many of you may or may not know, James and I have been doing a data analytic and AI series. So we started back in January or February with our first talk on how to use AI research tools, and we've done talks all along. Those slides are all available. So great question, Denica. Thank you very much. So first example then of nonprofit funding humanity AI. So definitely look into that and be on the lookout for the funding info that will come out for summer 2026. And think about if your university has a nonprofit, or what nonprofits are you connected to, because they may be funding nonprofits, but how can you as a researcher connect with the nonprofit and put together a proposal so that not only is the nonprofit funded, but you are funded as well. And several of the nonprofits funding AI research are looking for those type of partnerships. The next one that I wanted to share, the Spencer Foundation. Who's familiar with the Spencer Foundation for Education Research? Raise your hands, type yes, thumbs up in the chat, use an emoji if you want. So the Spencer Foundation has a Spencer Initiative on AI and education. Some of their funding was given away in 2025, but they do have a current call that is open called the Vision Fund. Your intent to apply is due in a couple of weeks on August 12th, and your full proposals would need to be due on September 16th, 2026. So have you all heard, if you're familiar with the Spencer Foundation, are you aware of the Vision Fund? And put vision in the in the chat if you have already heard of the Vision Fund. Alisa and Emily and Candace, thank you, and Mandy, thank you. So if you click on this link once you receive the slides or go to Spencer Foundation's Vision Fund, you will see the contact for their program officer that you can reach out to learn information. And so if you've heard of the Vision Fund, are you considering writing grants, proposal awards for the Vision Fund? Why you might not be considering those? We'd love to talk about that in the chat or later on. But these are examples of nonprofits that are just two examples of nonprofits that are providing funding for AI related research. And now I'll pass it on to my partner in crime, James, to talk a little bit more about private industry
All
funding.
right, so what we're going to do today now is just talk about all the different companies in the private sector that is handing out funding for this upcoming year, starting in August all the way up until January. Next slide. Okay, the first company is Unity. I don't know if you guys, Unity is a game engine, and basically they're funding all types of projects that's going to help the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And these goals are basically life below water, life on land, quality education for everyone, reduce inequalities, clean water, sanitation. So it's 17 of these things. And basically, you can write your grant to use AI to, and you have to use this Unity game engine to do your type of research. So I saw a question in the chat that he wanted to know if anybody basically looking at small images. And this is a good way because in a lot of our projects, when I was at DoD, we use Unity to reduce the quality of images to create synthetic data in order to train our computer vision models. So this can be one opportunity. You just write your grant proposal saying how you're going to use Unity and put some AI with it. And who knows, you may get selected. Next slide. And so the last slide was Unity. This is Epic Games, the Unreal Game Engine. And this one here is not as strict. It's basically if you have a project to where you want to use Unreal Game Engine to create, you can submit a proposal. They started accepting proposals last month. It goes all the way to September 4th. It's all about being creative and using AI. Not trying to produce the next Grand Theft Auto or Halo, but you can come up with some unique projects to where you can make a difference in your research. So this is another way where if you're working on small images, which, like I say, we use Unity and Unreal to do the type of work when I was at DoD, and we use it basically to detect rare and unique objects such as weapons, Russian weapons and Chinese weapons, and you have to be able to detect those objects at a distance. And so this is one of the things, one of the tools you can use to help your research. Okay. Next slide. Sorry. Okay, so now Sony, okay, Sony, they have their hands in a little everything from movies, you can get a computer, TVs, whatever. But they're funding different types of research along computer vision, machine learning, audio, music, speech, language processing. You can think of anything you can think of, they're funding. They're accepting applications. Of course, they want to use it to grow their company, but they looking to partner with universities and research institutions to do this type of research. So I believe the funding is anywhere between $100 to $300,000. It's on a yearly basis, and they're looking for creative ideas. So if you are creative and you want to get in this space, I would say definitely reach out and apply to them because they have different opportunities, not just one. Next slide. Okay, so this is for my computing security, especially if you're into quantum. Google basically is funding any type of research to help their quantum processing. And of course, they're looking for AI to help with this process. The deadline for this one is August 7th. It's a quick turnaround. And they basically looking for different type of security to explore how you can exploit targets in the quantum interface, basically. I know at DoD when we were going through looking at quantum, we was partnered with Google and Amazon to basically see different ways to where we can detect weakness in that system. So if you're looking for security, computing security, and you're interested in quantum, this is another opportunity with Google to fund your research. Next slide. And this came out yesterday. Anthropic basically is giving away $50,000 in Claude credits for you to do your research. So if you're into the rare and the disease research, they're giving you $50,000 to use Claude to help you with your research. It just came out yesterday, so this is fairly new, and the deadline is August 2nd. And apparently, they have two tracks that you can apply. One is for scientists doing basic research, and the other one is early stage biotech working on speeding up clinical development for rare diseases. So this is, if you like Claude, which that's the one I use all the time. This for $50,000 worth of Claude credit, that can go a long way as far as AI and ML processing for you. So next slide. All right, so let's talk about some of the federal agencies that are handing out. And some of these you may have heard before, especially when we get to the NASA. We have several fellows here that's from NASA, and they may have mentioned some of these. I'm just going to quick go through some of the federal agencies that are handing out funding for various type of AI research. Next slide. Of course, NASA. This I found unique because they actually have minority university research and education projects. And so this here research is strictly aimed at minority institutions. So, of course, you got the Explorers Program 2026. And I just put the link to all the other research opportunities that NASA provide. And I know I mentioned Claude earlier. All these images in federal was generated by ChatGPT. So I did not take this anywhere. I just told ChatGPT implement all these different images. Next slide. So the Department of Commerce, if you are into radio waves, radio access network, they looking for ways to use AI in that space. In my case, we did do some AI testing in that space just to see how you can take old, say like 2G, 3G, and LTE and see how that can go back and forth within that RAM when it comes to if you can knock certain things out and can we still function while that stuff is gone. So, but can you do that with AI? So they're looking for different capabilities, AI capabilities. So if you want to do traffic and capacity, ways you can intercept different signals in that network, this is another good way to get into the security space by showcasing your skills and showing that, hey, here's AI and how you can use it in the radio access network. Next slide. Okay, yeah, the Department of State has several, and one of the more interesting ones was the English educators, and basically they're looking for English professors to come up with curriculum using AI to help people in Egypt. So this is basically your humanities. Can you come up with a tool or use existing AI tools to where you can help grow the English language in foreign countries? They're willing to hand out funds to do this thing, along with several other programs that's available. So if you are into fighting counter terrorists, that can partner with Department of State along with other intelligence agencies, and so that can lead to more opportunities as far as getting funding. Next slide. Now, I have the intelligence community. Only reason I have this because the Laboratory for Analytic Science, that's where I came from. They're open right now. They are basically anything AI with data science related, they fund. From audio, video processing to AI assessments and evaluations and agentic AI. So they're looking for that. The deadline is basically July 31st. We have all that information in our backup slide, so you'll be able to see all the different deadlines and how much funding you're going to get along with the links. Now, that's the Laboratory for Analytic Science is basically a partnership between NC State and NSA. CIA Labs, they don't list what they're looking for, but it's same thing, basically Laboratory for Analytic Science, just from CIA. CIA, you have to register for. So that's why I have this link. You go and register, tell them what you're interested in, what you're interested in doing. And if they deem it essential or they think it's valuable, then they'll reach out to you and talk about how we can further this along and what type of funding you're looking for. So those are those two links for us intelligence community. And we have more uh, in the backup slides. Next slide. So let's take some international. I was able to find, you go to the next slide. This company here, they're based out of Germany. They're looking for artificial intelligence and sale. So this is all you medical folks out there that's doing research. This may be an opportunity where you want to get into the sale using AI in sale and trying to how all that work. Not my background, but this is definitely an opportunity. It closes August 31st. They look for a very unique situation where you're using AI to do all this type of research, especially cell processing. So just wanted to hand out some of the different ways you can find research for you guys. Hopefully this helps. Plus, we'll have a lot more in our backup slides as far as other opportunities to do individual research. Next slide.
I dropped this in. This is an example of we do want to have a list by category. We do have lists by category at the end of our slides. So some of the opportunities that we didn't talk about or maybe that had due dates past, we will have slides with links to those at the end of these slides. I just wanted to show you an example. So great conversation. How do you go about writing a successful AI funding application? What's the strategy? What we want to remind people, because there was that you are still the expert, right? Do not get afraid. Fear of becoming obsolete. Maybe some of the attendees were in a session that I went to last week on females in AI, and some people talked about this FOBO, not FOMO, but FOBO, fear of becoming obsolete to AI. Is AI going to take over everything? No, AI is not going to take over everything. You are still the expert in your discipline or area. AI is just a tool that you are going to use to do the research that you have always done or advance or move to another field. So think about it in those terms um, that how can AI be used to further your specific discipline? And what questions? We're still asking the same questions. What questions have not been answered in this particular field? And they are not always huge questions. They're sometimes very small questions. But how can you use AI to in that research gap to help to in that research gap to help you solve that particular problem, but also maybe also while expanding AI in your field or at your institution. Because while we need to train and teach and institutions need to move to using AI, we're also thinking about AI research. Those things are happening simultaneously. And great question, Gloria. We'll talk about AI funding for public policy if we can. So first you're thinking about your expertise and your discipline and how can you use AI as a tool, algorithms to solve policy research questions or whatever, or biological research questions. How can you use AI in your specific area? And then once you determine what your research gap is, then do you need funding for capital to fund the entire project? Or do you need compute resources like what James talked about, the Laboratory of Applied Science? And so you can be applying for compute resources from the federal government or from industry, as we saw the credits that you can receive. Those are kind of compute resources that help you use the AI tools or the platforms that you want to use to do the more advanced research that you want to do. So find funders who fund the research gap that you identify. Research who and what they have funded. So, Gloria, this is a little bit talking about your AI funding for public policy. The Humanity AI. Humanity AI has funded some organizations that are doing AI policy research as it's related to democracy and how do we, um, what are the policy initiatives and policy efforts that we need to have around AI. So that might be one place where you might go look. Um, the Humanity AI organization and some of the nonprofits who are thinking about AI for the public good. You're very welcome. Because this is AI funding, you want to know what are the mandates around open research or open source for your research. So this is a new realm that we are moving into as researchers because we have typically that's our IP. That's our information that we want to keep to ourselves because it is our research area. But as you're moving into AI funding, you might be required to share your algorithms, your training models, or data sets. They might need to be completely open source to benefit the broader global scientific community. So know what the requirements are in terms of what you have to share and think about that through the entire research process. What are you willing to share? Do you want to apply for funding that doesn't require it to be open source? So just really thinking about that, and maybe that is a shift into, how we think about and how we do research. And then after you have done your research, know that this is a type of funding for you, and you either have the partners or your independent research team does qualify for that funder, then prepare to write an award-winning application just as you would for any other funding opportunity. Some don'ts. Here are some don'ts. Use AI in kind of partition ways, but do not use AI to write your entire proposal or whatever you're trying to write. You remember, going back to the very first point, you are still the expert. Your expertise is not going away. Uh, so approach your grant from that lens. And don't ask AI, Claude, whoever, to write your entire grant. Reviewers can tell, whoever is reading your grant can tell because it gives very general information and and most people who are experts in your field can tell that this was not written from an expert lens, that it was a more general lens. You can, safely use tools like Perplexity or Gemini, some of the tools that we talk about, I think in our first or second talk, AI research tools, we talk about a lot of those. So go to the QEM Resource Hub and go to our original talk on AI research tools to look at some of the tools that you can use to help you with your literature review, right? Or to help you with formatting technical sessions. But do not try to tell AI to write a proposal for you. They may be able to help you write a literature review if you supply all the sources, right? You've thought about the sources, or if you get sources from AI, you need to check those sources before you use them and guarantee that they are talking about this research in the way that you are attempting to talk about it. Because again, experts in your field will know the literature still, and they will be able to say whether the literature that you're using is applied appropriately. If you have any questions, we're doing a plug for us because if you don't know, we are QEM Heroes Fellows. Being reminded again, James and I are. We are here for you. We have office hours and we can help you along the way. So contact us. We are your Data and AI Heroes Fellows. Contact us for support in any of these steps if you need. If you have questions about whether a particular funding area is good for your research, we can do a 30-minute chat with you, and we can talk through some of your research ideas. James, you want to do this one?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we have our upcoming webinars. Basically, next month is going to be a fireside chat on AI and education. And then from there, we're going to do another webinar on AI in your classroom and preparing your students to use AI effectively. And hopefully, come back in October. The goal is to set up a mini workshop in October, November, and December to close out the year. Next up.
Thank you. I'm paying attention to the chat too. Go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead, James.
so if you want to contact us, our information is right there, along with we got a feedback form that we ask that you fill out after every webinar, along with the Heroes webpage to look at others, along with the QEM event page to see what's coming up. So all the information is right here for you. And like Francis said, if you want to sit down and talk with us about some of this AI funding opportunity, please reach out. Our information is right here. Oh, and one thing I would say as far as LAS, the Laboratory for Analytic Science, this is real key. Yes, they fund, they give you computing resources. It's Amazon Web Services, so you get an EC2 instance, however many GPUs you need, you're gonna get. But just understand if you apply for the Laboratory for Analytic Science and you're selected, that you will share IP rights with NC State and NSA. So whatever you create, they will have the rights to it also. I just want to throw that plug in that so you understand. Other than that, any questions?
We're happy to field questions at this point since we've been utilizing the chat for most of this webinar. We can utilize the chat. Will you accept a raised hand, Francis and James? Okay, we have Dr. Gibson.
Thank you, Christine. Uh, Francis and James, what a remarkable presentation. Thank you. And just a quick question, the uh, the IP that they were NSA and the other institution will have at the end. I mean, like, is there some negotiation that that the applicant gets the IP rights back, or those
Oh,
institutions will?
you have it also. So you can, whatever you create, you will have the IP rights. It's going to be a shared IP right. The DoD is going to use it for whatever they want to use it for whatever mission they're trying to accomplish with your whatever you create. NC State, most of the time they just shelve it, but other time if it's something unique and they can apply to some of their other research, they're going to do it without having to ask you. So whatever you create, you can go and sell and do whatever you want. It's your right as because it's your IP also.
Got you. Thank you.
Uh,
And then we had the question earlier from Francis D. It's always good to see another Francis. So welcome, Francis D. Francis Dancer. And I put a link there that talked about the particular funding opportunity that you talked about. And that funding opportunity is NSF SADC, Security, Privacy, and Trust in Cyberspace. I put the link that explains, I think that their computer education related proposals have been paused. And there's an entire webpage about that that came out in March of this year, and you may be aware of that. But luckily, Francis, you have several areas of research that you're interested in, right? You mentioned AI, computer education, and cyber forensics. So, from my understanding of that particular program, cybersecurity and AI is a really strong fit. That program has prioritized the integration of AI with cybersecurity and is funding projects on secure AI systems against attacks. James talked about that a little bit. For some of the funding opportunities for private industry organizations, right? As well as NSF. And then cyber forensics, if you can take cyber forensics and focus on automated artifact detection or privacy preservation extraction tools, then those might be cyber forensics areas that might be funded. But if you're so I hope that's additional information in addition to the link. And if
I
you
would
want,
say,
go ahead,
oh,
Jane.
go ahead. Oh, I was
Go.
just going to say, as far as cyber, at NSA, the key issue with cyber that we had was we did not have the data, or you had to pay for the data. So anything you're going to do with cyber, is the data available? And that's when we started looking at synthetic data generation for cyber. And one of the things we did was say, like, you want to generate a cyber campaign that follows the Sticks 2.0 format. So, and it makes sense. So that's the type of stuff as far as NSA is looking for, because right now we weren't going to pay for any type of cyber data using AI. So we had to generate everything. And the goal is, if you're going to generate it, how realistic can you make, and can you verify that it works?
We have an additional question from
Oh, cybersecurity and AI. Basically, it's the same thing I just mentioned, like generating a cyber campaign where, if you're familiar with the Sticks 2.0, that's one way to where you can generate synthetic data of different cyber campaigns to where you can detect anomalies in certain things. That's go from someone hacking into your system, different viruses that are out there. Another thing that we had was, okay, as far as cyber is, okay, network designs. Understanding how to get in and out of a network. That data is not readily available. That's a expertise. People, you got network engineers who understand that, but it's not on paper. Can you create synthetic data that shows different types of network and how you go in and out? And then what are the vulnerabilities when you do that? So that's one of the things how NSA, when I was there, and some of the research we were doing in cybersecurity was, it was more so on the offensive end and on the defensive end, and how can we exploit a lot of these different things using AI. But just understand, the data as far as cyber is very rare. It's not out there to where, and the people who do have it, they charge a lot of money for it. And so that's hence come up synthetic data generation for cyber, for like a cyber campaign or any other type of cyber that you're trying to do. Now, if you're talking about, oh, you want to get into the hacking space, well, there are a lot of tools out there that's doing that now. It's just a matter, are you trying to be on the offensive end of it, or are you trying to be on the defensive end of it? And then how can you use AI to say, if you're on a defensive end, then you have the offensive tools. How are you going to use AI to try to block those offensive threats? And vice versa, how are you going to use AI to break into something without being detected? So that's how you got to look at it when you're looking at the cyber and you're trying to partner with NSA.
Does that answer your question, Francis T? Got a lot of Francis's on this call today, male and female. And Francis T. Yep. T.
It said
Lori. Great.
how the synthetic data analysis will cope up with the real world data based on agriculture related research.
I think that's
That's
come up. Yeah, how come up? And do you need more information? Because agriculture is really, really broad. So that's what
yeah.
I was wondering. AppTab, could you give us a little bit more context? I don't know if he wants to type or come off mute, but that's a good question. Animal health monitoring systems.
Oh, that's a good one. It's not my area of expertise, but I figure if you're using synthetic data, I mean, the animals, I mean, this is just a brainstorming session now. This can be like a mini workshop.
Many office hours. This is
Yeah, I
many
mean,
office hours. When you come to,
basically, I know the way I would approach it. Like, if I know I have, say, like we trying to you monitoring the health of cows, and I have images and of data of what a good cow looked like from when it was born all the way up until it gets older. You have that data, but you want to create more data for some type of AI ML. So you just need to know, okay, what are the different diseases, or how does a cow get sick, and how does it affect that? Say like mad cow disease. How does a cow react when it has that type of mad cow disease? And then you can start simulating that in a virtual environment, which will create your synthetic data, and then you can just start fine tuning your model. That's how we're approaching just looking at it. Let's see. Please provide resources on understanding more on analytical science, explore insights of audio and video. Okay, so I'm gonna just talk from the Laboratory for Analytic Science, NSA. We are at the time we were looking at videos to try to figure out what's going on in the videos. Like, have the machine, instead of having an analyst have to go through every video, can AI do that for you? So in order to do that, you got to be able to identify what's in the video, what time of the day is, the location, uh, what's the action taking place in the video. And on top, and also if you're looking at audio, we were more interested in sound detection. I think we did a webinar on this earlier, where somebody plays an audio clip. What's going on? You hear all this different sound taking place. Can you come up with what just happened? Say like if it's somebody knocking on the door, an explosion, the next thing you know, you hear the different voices. How many females or how many males? What kind of explosion? Close, far? Were they on a stoop? I mean, it's just you're just trying to use your imagination to like, okay, what's taking place in that audio and try to pinpoint, okay, what's going on in order for some an analyst to make a decision. And not just that, I mean, there's plenty of information. You got, say, like, you want to understand whether someone is mad or sad or they have something against the US. So you want to be able to read and analyze newspaper articles, audio clips, and take like the Nixon tapes, which is open source. You go back and listen to the Nixon tapes when it was when he was talking on the phone. Can you analyze that and understand exactly what he's talking about? Can AI understands that? So yeah, that's just thinking about it as far as what we were doing at the Laboratory for Analytic Science.
so I put a question in the chat, or a comment. I think he was interested in resources to learn how to
So,
do that. So we'll try
okay.
to put some resources at the end of the slides. Thank you for all of the questions, right? They are helpful for our future sessions in this area. They're helpful to know for the workshops that you all are interested in. And you can also schedule an office hours. And
Okay.
James can provide a lot more detail about where to go. I know everyone is doing searches on their own. So any searches that, anything that you find that you have questions about, those are great things to come to office hours to talk about, to get additional questions and in this area as well. You are welcome, Francis from Jackson State University. So I gave Jackson State. You all have a lot of AI research going on. We will take your email down. And yes, Christine put in the chat the evaluation form. It is also still on the screen. I did not get rid of the slides. Feel free to give us feedback about your about this webinar. We do take that feedback and use it as we develop our future webinars. And I'll let Christine, you close us out if we don't. Bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Carter Johnson and James, for a very informative presentation. And thank you all for your participation today. We had a great turnout, a great discussion. Please remember to visit our QEM events page to sign up for future webinars, our Heroes webpage, where you can contact our Heroes Fellows, including Dr. Carter Johnson and James, to ask questions about funding opportunities in other areas. And again, our webinar feedback form, we take your feedback very seriously and incorporate it into our future work. I want to thank our presenters today for a wonderful presentation. We hope to see everyone at a future webinar. Thank you so much.